2015, you know I'm rebuilding the old Ocean Pirate Brook 323. Now, last time we was here, I wanted to take off the flange from the main shafts coming in, and I bought the wrong socket set, or the wrong socket size. So today I bought the bigger socket, which I thought what it was. I didn't measure it, being a dumb person now and then. This is 1.5 inches. It was actually too small. But I'll tell you what, it's a bitty bonus today. We've got a guy on the art called Mark. Thank you, Mark, very much. He has got every tool imaginable on the planet, and he has got this, which is a 1 3/4 inches, and that's what it is. So hopefully we're going to progress with that very, very shortly. Now, before we move on, just a little quick one. I did get an ask on Facebook about something, and I should have mentioned this. If we look at the front of this boat, have a little look. It's white. And if we look back to the time when I was doing the original rip out and repaneling, I repaneled it all. I took the panels off and then I repaneled it all. But I had a massive problem, and it was water was getting into the main cabin. I couldn't find out where it was coming from. It was actually condensation, and that condensation over the years caused cracks, which I'll show you. I had to stop working in here because if you look just here, I don't think it's very clearly, but there's a crack. It's now completely closed up. But that itself was causing me an issue. I think, well, it's always damp, it's always wet. But I had no leaks. It was coming, it was working its way down through the very, very corner down here from condensation. I still get a bit of condensation. I'm dealing with it slowly. Nowhere near as bad. But it was coming. It was coming from the back of the boards. So I ripped them off. And it was never designed with them boards to start with in 68, 69. It was just mahogany. And so now it's been ripped off, sanded back, treated with resin, primed, and that's ready to go with a marine top side, and that will go for all the way around the top of the windows. White and bright, and the condensation is almost gone. The problem, the condensation. Anyway, let's move on to these shafts. It's going to be interesting, this. Okay, so there's the flange. That's what's got to come off. We've got two of them to take off. We're going to have a quick look at the props. Now I've put some blocks under the props so it stopped them from spinning on the nut. They're coming off as well. They go back on. We need to get all the measurements. That's a real, it's one of the, there's two big jobs on this boat, really big. The rest are going to be so all the way through. So the props, the couplings, the engines. I think that will be the engines will be the biggest one. Right, let's go. We're down in the dungeon. This is the flange, what's got to come off. Now inside here is a nut, we do know now. That's 1 3/4. So that has got to come off. And I do believe these shouldn't be over tight. The torque value of these are quite low. Bloody hell. That was loose. That's loose. That's not loose. Might need a bit of bar. No, that's going. Right. There we go. That's good news. It means someone put this on properly. So, wow, look at that. Now, what you normally find with these is there's a large nut, and behind that large nut is another locking nut. Normally, doesn't necessarily say there is. There we go. Look, it's just a ring in there. There's no secondary nut. I don't think it needed one anyway. So let's get the pulleys on. You never know, that might just pull off without any heat, but we've got a heat gun if need be. Right, let's get a little bit of pressure on it. Use a hydraulic. I think we're going to have to put a bit of heat on this. I'll put some tension on it. Okay, put some tension on it. Right, let's just put some heat on. Just to expand it a little bit, that's all we need. We don't want it too hot. We want it hot, but not too hot. Let's see. I don't know when it's come off. Got some pressure on there. I'm going to loosen this off for a minute. I want to check there's no nut behind that washer. Otherwise we'll be doing this all day. Right, what I've done is I've used a bit of CT1 on the end of this nut or this socket, pressed it against the washer, and it comes off. We just clean that CT1 off after. So we have a look inside. Let's have a look, bring it down there. There isn't a secondary nut, but it is keyed, so that's one thing we need to know. That's information. It does look like it's a taper. It does look like it's some taper. I'm going to get some WD-40 and just give that a spray. Oh, that's foam right over the wall sometimes. That's a big lump of metal to heat up, but I am very concerned. I do not want to be. I might put some, I don't know, some wet rags or something around them seal, that tide seal at the end. I've done any heat transfer, not that I think it will transfer, but it's possible. Okay, I've had to make a bit of a decision here. My main plan was to change this flange completely. Just change it, get something to go on that shaft, blah blah blah, done. The problem I'm coming up against is I can't put too much heat on this. I can heat it. I mean, I've moved this probably about a millimetre. It has moved, so I know it can come off, but I'm having to apply more heat. So if we look at it, it's in great condition, and I risk damaging the tide seal. If I damage the tide seal, I'm going to double my money on the couplings. I'm going to have to spend. They cost a fortune, and I've got to take this off anyway. I know this can come off, so I'm thinking, you know what? If I buy a adapter, this is a 6-inch flange. I need one 6-inch 6-hole. Buy an adapter to go on a 6-inch 6-hole to a 5-inch 5-hole, which is on the gearbox, or we'll go onto the coupling to the gearbox, and I'm away. And it just means moving the engine back that much. That's it. I've got plenty of room to move the engine forward, and I've got plenty of angle here. So when I put the nut back on, that will pull back that little bit. I have pulled it, but I know it's moving slightly, but I'm having to put more and more heat on it all the time, and I don't want to keep using the heat with this here. It will just damage, you know. I've got a double tide seal. I've got 3 tide seals. I've got 1 in play, 2 spare. Let's not go down there. Let's not do it. So this can come off. We'll put this back on there. We'll get the nut back on, and we'll lock it up and move on to that, and then move on to the props. It's going to be an adapter flange. First fail of the day, but it's not a fail, it moves. But I'm not willing to take the chance on damage. Not worth it. Not worth it. Just get a flange. I don't know. They're not that expensive. I can still put the heat cover it now. That shaft is Let's have a look. Yeah, it's a hot shaft. It's not hot, but it's hot enough. It's hot enough. I don't want to be transferring it into them, and I can't really take these off because they were put on after the coupling, or before the coupling. So it's all before the flange. These went on before the flange. So, and that's what you do. You put tie seals on. There's about 20 years of tie seal protection there. So let's not play games with it. Break it down to the costs. We know the flange will come off. We've got the tie seals in place. We've got 2 tie seals. So should your tie seal fail at sea or whatever, you can change the tie seals on the go. Literally, you stop half an hour, you'll have a new tie seal fitted, and a few gallons of water in the bottom of the boat while you do it. But it can be done, and that's why they're there. So let's go for the adapter. We go for a 5-inch to a 6-inch adapter plate, and then we get the coupling to suit the gearbox after. So the engine will move forward by this far, around that much. We've got stacks of room. Okay. Too much heat needed. Too much. Bottom line is, we do this when we have to, when we've got no more tie seals and we're leaking and sinking. Okay. Right, so let's see what else we've got then. We know we're keeping this. Now we'll just get the adapter. It's too expensive to change it, and there's no real need. Now we know what it is. We know what type it is. So if we look at the tie seal, if you look at this, you've got 2 points here. One here. Basically what happens with these is they're calling for the tie seal itself, and so it doesn't overheat when this is going around at hundreds of revs per minute, or maybe 1,000 RPM, whatever, and so it keeps that cool. But also, water is pumped into one of these. It pumps into one and out the other. Normally comes off the raw water after the raw water pump. That's an adapter you can get. Other people do it other ways. Some fit independent pumps, but to be honest, it's just better off getting the adapter to go on your engine and then pipe on, and then this pipes off. It either pipes off this one here to the exhaust outlet, or you can take it to somewhere else, maybe take it to something else which goes out the boat, so you know it's running when the engine's running, and you're good. This is where you've got to do your research. You've got to do your research, because the one on the I'm sure the one on the gearbox is 5. So it's not a massive difference, is there, in size? That 1/4 of an inch, less, well, probably 1/2 inch all the way around. It's not a huge difference. Right, props. Let's go and have a look. We know what that is. Right, let's look at the prop. Now we know we've got a tapered flange, and so I've loosened this off already. So just spin it off. And this is blooming heavy. So, there we go. Right, here we go, 1 prop. We'll get this baby in position. Why use a brass bronze on a aluminium boat? There's a good reason for it. If we look at this, the first thing we get, it may be possible to get off the shelf prop for this, we'll see. But if we look at this, the pitch is too much, so it'd be too much load on the engine. You can, what's called over propping. Basically the prop is never going to get up to the engine speed. So it's designed to go on a massive engine, this thing, massive. And so it's never going to get up there. So that's going to be the same, it's going to be a 4-blade, but the pitch will be probably much less. So where you're looking at that there, it's going to be down here somewhere, probably around a 16 or a 17, 21 to 23 inch, probably about the same size. And the reason it's brass bronze is the fact that brass bronze, when it gets to speed, it has some flexibility, it flexes, where stainless steel doesn't. Stainless steel is very rigid, so it can transfer a lot of vibration through to your vessel. Also, if the stainless steel prop hits something solid. There is a picture of this in Southampton Race where one of the props got damaged. If it hits something solid, that can transfer the damage through to your boat. This will just fold, it will bend, and it's much easier to repair. And lots of other reasons as well. Basically, they're quieter, for one, just because they do flex slightly. Props do actually flex when they're at speed, and they're easy to repair. If you damage them, they can be repaired a lot easier. You know, if you put a stainless steel one on, you're going to have anodes all over the place. They do attract a lot of problems underwater. These don't, and they just generally are a much more friendlier prop for an aluminium boat. You know, they are what they are. There's going to be brass bronze, and we know what we're getting. Put it back on. We're looking good. We know what we've got, and we know what we're getting. Well, I would say this is a day of investigation, really. The good thing about today is sometimes you get a boat, you get an idea, you come along, you put everything you've got into the idea. I'm going to get the flange off, I'm going to replace the flange, I want a straight shaft, I don't want a tapered shaft. You think it's straight, it's not straight, it's tapered. Tapered's twice the price. It then sort of boils down and think, you know what, you could damage the tide seals, you could damage that. It was a pointless event, really. It was a pointless event, and that's the typical boat, because you think you plan to do something, and then you know what, it's just cheaper to get the adapter. So that's what we're going to go down the road of. But at least we've got the prop size. We know the tapers. We know the size of the prop we need for the shaft. We've got all that. We've got all that information, and we filmed it all. I can send it off to someone, and then we can sort of like price up. But it's got to be a 4-grade bronze. It can't be anything else on this boat. This boat's made of aluminium. It's got to be bronze. It's got to be bronze, and it will protect the vessel. So, well, should it hit something on the bottom? But there's no shortage of things to do. We're going to be sticking with this area for the time being. So I'm now going to get the wood. I'm going to research the prop. I'll probably do something on that later in this video. And I'm going to research the coupling and everything else. But we've got to keep on going around this bit here. We're moving soon. Over there. It's going to be soon as well. I ain't ready for the move yet, but I need to move. I need to go. We need to box stuff up. Welcome to boating. Welcome to building boats. Or not building boats. I don't know. Whatever you want to call it. Stop!